Hello guys, vanakkam and welcome to my channel. So this is my first video in this channel. So there are many tournaments going on, online tournaments of course, but right now I wanted to focus more on the recently concluded online Olympiad where Indians and Russians were jointly declared as winners. So there are many beautiful games in the Olympiad, but I wanted to focus on one game which kind of impressed me the most. So that was the game between Italy versus Spain, Dverny versus Alexei Shirov. So in my childhood years, I grew up studying games of Alexei Shirov. You know his famous book, Fire on the Board. I studied that book, I know, at least 5 to 10 times, and it had a huge impact on me. That sometimes even I try to play like that. I don't know if I succeed or not, but at least I try playing like that. So let's look at this game. Shiro was black, white opened with d4, black played d5, white played c4, and black played c6. So this is called a Slav defense. Shiro most likely almost always plays Slav because the setup arising in this opening kind of suits his style, I think. So that's why he is very confident playing these structures and these openings quite repeatedly. So if any of you guys wanted to learn Slav, I would recommend to study games of Alexei Shirov's, his black games of course. So Slav, white played knight f3, knight f6, white played e3. Knight c3 is of course also possible, where Shirov almost always plays e6, and it leads to many many adventurous systems like this way. This one is called as bot winning system. So okay, that's probably the topic of different video. So here white played here white played e3, and black played bishop f5, knight c3, e6, and white played knight h4. Here black has two choices. One is to play direct bishop g6 or to play bishop e4. So Shirov chose bishop e4, f3. Yeah, one more important point to realize is that if white plays knight e4, black can play de4. There are two things. First, I'm going to play g5 to trap the knight, and also I can always play bishop b4 check, so that I can eliminate white's double bishop advantage. White cannot take care of both the things, so this is fine for black. More than fine for black. So here white played f3, and Shirov played bishop g6. There is some minute difference between direct bishop g6 and bishop e4, f3, bishop g6. The point is that for bishop g6, white can play knight g6, h g6, and g3, followed by bishop g2 or maybe short castle. This one solid system for white to play. But here, after provoking white to play f3, when black plays bishop g6, the point is that knight g6 is met with h g6, of course. If white plays something like g3, for example, black can play even queen c7, the famous trick. If bishop g2, there is always this trick, yeah, rook h2, queen g3 check, and I win couple of pawns for no real compensation for black. So that is one of the important reason for provoking white to play f3 here, so that white really cannot capture and try to play long short castle. So in this game, white went for queen b3, just attacking the pawn here. So queen c7. Of course, queen b6 is also possible, but Shirov style, no need to enter endings as yet. The game is still fresh, so there is no need to enter the endings. So Shirov played queen c7, bishop d2, bishop e7, knight g6. Now the point of bishop e7 is that because you can always play something like knight e4, so that bishop is keeping an eye on this knight e4 or knight g4. There is always such tricks. So white just played knight g6, h g6, long castle. H2 pawn is immune because if rook h2, okay, for example, rook h2, queen h2, white has queen b7, and the rook is lost. So that's why black plays knight b d7, white plays c d5. It's kind of interesting, to open the king's line in front of opponent's queen, but white has a point. After cd5, white just goes king b1, so that white can play rook c1, and c file is open, so there is always some tricks in there. So that is the white's point of playing cd5 and opening the queen side. If you look deeper, it's not that white is really opening up the queen side. White king is kind of safe. So at the moment, so that was white's point. White played king b1, black played a6. So black is just waiting and stopping any piece jump to b5. So black plays a6, rook c1, and of course queen b6 is also possible, but considering white has double bishop advantage and it is white who is having a slight pull, so Shirov of course denies going to the endings. So black plays queen b8, white goes h4. This move is kind of interesting. Basically, white doesn't know where to attack because king in the center. E4 is also possible, but the point is d4, fe4. White can always castle king side, and center is bit, I would say, too committal. Of course, white is still better anyway, but considering that this is a rapid game and the two online rapid game, so white just plays, which is more logical according to me. He's just playing h4, so that if whenever black castles, white is on time to play either direct h5 or g4 and h5. So that's the point of h4, so that king is still in the center. He can decide when to play e4 or to play g4 h5. So h4 is an useful move according to me. So black plays b5. Black is also playing useful moves, so that he can try to jump to c4 or try to push the pawn to b4 to push the knight away. So black plays b5, white plays a4. Again, this kind of move is quite puzzling, right? Because generally we don't push the pawns in front of our own king, because if you look properly, it is black who is trying to attack on white's queen side. So what is the point behind a4? Well, according to me, white's point is that, let's say if black plays b4, white will just move to knight a2, and if you have a deeper look, okay, one thing, this pawn is under attack, but I'm not sure if we will take it. If you take the pawn, it unnecessarily gives some hope to attack on the b file. So I don't think white will take, or maybe he will take an appropriate moment. Basically, white's idea is that he has shut down all the possible ways to create attacking chances towards white king. It will be dream position if knight belongs on a5 to kick the queen. Once queen moves, black can play b3 or such stuff. But white's pieces are super solid. It cannot be easily kicked by black's forces. And the question is, how is black going to proceed? Because there is no attack on the queen side. It has been halted. If you play castle, of course, white is on time to create some counter with h5 or g5, and of course bd3 is always in there. So this was white's point behind playing a4, and black just plays castle. Black cannot wait anymore. Black has to castle, and he has to bring the last piece, important piece, to attack. So if ab5, I play ab5. If you just play knight b5, black has something like rook a6, and black can play queen a8, and all the pieces are joining the party. So black is having an easy game. Rook b6 always is pin, it's always there. So black is having a very, very easy game, and especially in rapids, the two online rapid, it's not at all easy for white to defend. Black's play is very, very automatic. White has to be very precise because for grabbing the pawn. So after castle, white played a5. Another kind of interesting choice, I would say. If I think white has to play something like h5, gh5, and try to burn down the trees, burn down that position by playing g4, or maybe then a5, maybe, I don't know. But okay, white played a5 because now he's again he's stopping black from taking ba4 and open up the queen side at the appropriate time for black. So a4, black plays castle, a5, rook c8. Black is of course playing all the logical moves. Of course, it's a rapid tournament. I would like to emphasize again and again. In rapid tournaments, we cannot expect 100% accuracy in the games. So black is playing all the logical moves. When black is trying to attack, so he just trying to bring all the forces towards white's king. You know, everything is focused towards white king. So rook c8, bd3. White plays bd3. According to me, I think white should have played, to play g4 and try to attack. But okay, white played bd3, and this is the move I like the most. So queen g3. Our queen, black's queen is voluntarily going to the king side. But why? We'll see why. Because white is planning to play g4 and h5. So to stop this, black is just playing queen g3, to disrupt white's pieces for a while, so that in meantime black is on time to create a counterplay on the queen side. Basically, black is just buying time to slow down white's attack. So queen g3, I like this move a lot. This kind of pattern, of course, we all can employ in our own games. Even I have employed such themes. Maybe again I'll show in another video. Placing our queen in front of opponent's pieces, so that you are slowing down his attack for a while. We're just buying time. So after queen g3, black played rook c g1, trying to defend. Of course, there is no rook h3 because of queen g2, double attack, so it's pointless. So rook c g1, he is defending the pawn. Maybe he wants to play rook g3 or bishop e1. Rook h3 or bishop e1 to kick the queen from the g3 square. And now the game starts. Rook c4. So this move, of course, impressed me the most. Of course, this section sacrifice, it's kind of typical, we know, from Petrosian era. Yeah, Petrosian, you has played many such games with such exchange sacrifice. So rook c4, black is trying to bring the more forces and trying to disrupt white's attack. So point is bishop c4. I'm surprised. I'm curious what Shirov would have played. If dc4, queen c2, b4, and knight e2, queen c7. I think Shirov. Shirov would have been happy with this position. I think, you're trying to mess up the position. This is always there. Probably Shirov would have felt like home in these kinds of positions. Especially in rapid. Yeah. So, but even bc4 is also interesting. bc4, queen c2, black rook b8. Even this is interesting. You're trying to bring the bishop here. Queen is ready to jump to the queen side. Of course, we cannot forget knight is also jumping to the queen side. But I'm curious what Shirov would have chosen, which recapture here, bc4 or dc4. Okay. So after rook c4, white played f4. White's point is interesting. From white's point of view, white probably feels that there is no enough attack towards white's king. So basically, he's trying to trap the queen. Queen is restricted to come back. So something like rook h3 and somewhere like bishop e2 or f5 and bishop e2. There are too many things. So basically, white is shutting down the black's queen coming to the queen side. So after f4, actually f4 is a kind of a mistake. We'll see why. Black played rook a c8, but rook d4 would have been more devastating. Rook d4, ed4, queen d3 check, both are on attack. Whatever you play, queen c2 and queen d4. Black gets 2 pawns for the exchange, and all his light squares are weak, and black can play something like this and keep going like this. Black is having clear initiative. But probably Shirov was probably was too impressed with the rook, so he just played most automatic move, rook a c8, which is also quite strong in a practical game, because again it's a rapid tournament. Yeah, it's not easy for white to defend and easy to play such moves. Rook a c8, you don't need much time to think, just play in less than 2 seconds. Yeah, just bring the last piece to the to the game. So rook a c8, and white played queen d1. Again, white should have played bishop c4, I think, but d c4, and the squares are too weak. Light squares are too weak. Black, once I managed to push the pawn b4, and once the knight moves, all the light squares are very weak, so not easy to play again in a practical game. So white played queen d1. Probably again he's keeping an eye on rook h3, so that after queen g4 you can just take, and then you can take the exchange. This is what probably black had in his mind. So black plays b4, not worrying about everything. I'm not worried about anything. So rook h3. Again, I'm curious what Shirov would have played. White played knight e2, inviting certain fireworks. That too from a player like legend like Shirov, yeah, attacking genius like Shirov. So if rook h3, queen. I'm curious what Shirov would have played. Would have even played queen h3 or queen g4, and Shirov is too good in endgames as well. Like, as you might recall, there's a famous move, bishop h3 against Veselin Topolov. Like, Shirov was black, Shirov played bishop h3 so that to gain time, so that black king was on e6. It came to f5, e4, and d3. So that was a famous move. Fischer, sorry, I don't know why I keep selling Fischer. Probably both were of similar style. Okay, Shirov is too good in endings as well. So queen g4, knight g4, bishop c4. There is this one attacking both, or there is also just dc4, knight. Knight moves somewhere. Knight e4, f5. Again, yeah, you have complete domination over the light squares, and the position is fairly closed. I'll just plant one knight on d5, other knight on g4 or e4, and the position is closed. It's not easy for white to come up with something in such a shorter time control. Or Shirov, maybe he would have played queen h3, considering his knowing his style. Gh3, bc3, bishop c3, rook c3, bc3, rook c3. Of course, it's very difficult. I mean, it's a dubious sacrifice. White can always play rook g2 and bring the rook to defense. It's of course a dubious sacrifice, but if white was on very low on time, probably playing with seconds, maybe he would have gone for queen h3 also. But objectively, I think he would have preferred queen g4. But I don't know that game situation, how much time white had. So white played knight e2, black played queen g4, white played knight c1, and yeah, this was the position which impressed me the most. The move played by Shirov was astonishing. He played knight e4. White, he just giving the whole queen. I mean, it's a too deep, yeah, especially in shorter time controls. I was like, wow. I mean, even now, it's a brilliant game, a brilliant move. In fact, if queen g4, why did not play queen g4? If queen g4, there is knight d2 check, king a1, and now the important move b3. So threat is mate, and I would like to tell to my dear viewers is that this is a standard mating patterns. Any check here. I mean, after b3, I'm telling about this thing. King is stuck. King is boxed on this in the corner. King cannot move, and b3 pawn does not even matter. It's fine even if you don't have a b3 pawn. But any check on this file and it's a mate. Knight on d2 is controlling the b1 square, and just a check on the a file, it's a mate. So b3, if bishop c4, rook c4, I still have a check. If knight a2, no problem, I'll still play rook a4, and it's a mate, forced mate. White is up by a queen, and white has two rooks. But if you look only at the queen side, look at the pieces on the queen side. Bishop is kind of eyeing on the diagonals. We have knight, rook, knight, pawn. We have 4 to 5 attackers, and white has only one defender, which is knight, and the poor king is stuck. The entire situation would have been different if all these pieces had it been on the queen side, so that they can defend the king. But this is an important pattern. If we have more attackers, and if opponent has less defenders, which means there is always some tricks going on. So always beware. Always be alert that something is going to happen. Okay, in this position, it's a forced mate after rook a2. So, I mean, few more things are happening. I'll explain more things. So b3. Let's say what if white plays bishop b1. you know, I can try to play bishop a2 and there is no mate because I have knight to cover the thing. But there is even deeper thing. Rook a4 check, knight a2, ba2, bishop a2. Of course, you have to take, otherwise it's a mate here. Bishop c2 is not possible because of this simple thing. It's again a mate. So, and of course, if you play something like b3, it's just queens and it's a mate. Knight is supporting the queen. It's double checkmate. So, if bishop a2, and now the brilliant move, the only move which wins the game is knight d c5. You're bringing the one more piece to the attack. Again, look at the number of attackers. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You have 5 attackers against just one small defender. Maybe you can count as a pawn as a defender. Look, but in this particular position, it's a kind of obstructing the king to escape. But in any case, even if you count as a defender, white has only 2 defenders, but whereas black has 5 attackers. Though white is a queen up, it's immaterial because white's queen is on the other side and the action is happening on the other side. So this is also another pattern. If the action is going on and if opponent's queen is on the other side and the action is happening on the other side, which means most likely your attack will succeed. So you can, you just don't hesitate and sacrifice the materials. So the winning move is knight d c5. So threat is check and mate. So if d c5, rook c5. So the thing that black's threat is not rook a5. Black's threat is, okay, let's say you just pass queen d1 for example. Black's threat is to play rook a2, king a2 and rook a5. This is the pattern. Knight is controlling the both important squares, so king cannot escape, and pawn is hindering the b2 square, and it's a mate. Of course, queen a4, rook a4 is a mate. It's a beautiful mate I have seen off late. The knight d c5. I mean, and they're still, I'm super happy when I see such moves. In modern times, it's like we're bringing Morphy's era, yeah, Morphy, Anderson. It's like those kinds of attacking chess which we are seeing in modern era. So knight c5 is a brilliant move. D c5, rook c5. So whatever you play, I'll just go to take on a2. If you play b3 or b4, it's immaterial. I'll play bishop f6 check, and it's a mate. King cannot move anywhere. The diagonal is controlled by the bishop and knight is controlling the b1 square. It's a mate. So because of this, I wanted to show this game and share my opinion with you, because this move is not at all easy to spot, especially in shorter time control. Knight d c5. I'm sure Shirov would have played this. He's too good in tactics. He's very, very tactically alert, and he's also very, very creative player. So for him, knight d c5 is just like a piece of cake. So okay, unfortunately, this did not happen in the game. White did not take on g4. White played bishop e2, attacking the queen with this bishop. Queen f5. I'm keeping an eye on the diagonal again. So white came back, bishop d3. Of course, queen g4 is just a draw, yeah, repetition. So that's not what we wanted. Black plays knight d f6. So if you realize that white's light square is very, very weak, despite the presence of this bishop, white's light squares are very weak because there is no pawn on f3. Had it been on f3, it's a different story, but pawn is on f4. Since pawn is on dark squares, the light squares surrounding the pawn has been weakened. So white played g4, and now another beautiful knight g4, rook g4 and queen g4. So this square, yeah, basically black is just giving the whole queen in this square, like forcing opponent to take the queen. And this time white realized that he's losing anyway, so just played queen g4 and knight d2 check, king a1, rook c1, rook c1, rook c1, and it's a mate. King a2, I just go b3 or bb1. Okay, it's just not rook b1, king a2 and b3 mate. It's a beautiful mate, yeah. Knight is doing this job, bishop is doing this one, and rook is controlling this one, and poor queen could not participate in the game for active defense. So the action started when white played a4 and black played castle, and the main course of action started after rook c4, and now the fireworks started. f4, rook a c8, queen d1, b4, knight e2, queen g4, knight c1, and now knight e4. Boom, brilliant move. So bishop e2, of course we just saw, yeah, queen g4 leads to knight d2 and b3. It's a pattern, no, which you all must remember very well. If you have a knight like this and king boxed in the corner like this, so make sure there are some tactics like this. So just quickly go through the game. Bishop e2, queen f5, bishop d3, knight f6. Of course black is playing on light squares as well. If you see, black is playing on both sides of the board. He's not playing only on the queen side, he's also playing on both the sides, king side as well as on the queen side. So g4, knight g4, rook g4, queen g4, and d2, king a1, and yeah, it was a mate. So I hope you guys enjoyed this game with my comments. Of course, if you want to be too good in dynamics or in attacking or aggressive chess, I would strongly recommend you to study the games of Shirov, Fire on the Board. He wrote a book, Fire on the Board. So I'm sure your tactical level and aggressive level will go to the next level. And yeah, thanks for watching.